Oh, you are live. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Good morning.
Woo!
Hi, Michael.
Wow, we have another group. I don't think that the puppy likes geophysics.
She
Is
was
that?
waiting that you start to bark.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Kind of show her on screen now. She wants to make an appearance. Come on. Okay. So my objective, guys, is to put together some material that people like yourselves, young geologists working in Ecuador. Ecuador doesn't have a geophysical background as far as I can tell. Let's build that. And I've put together these points, and I think both you guys have this file, right?
Yes.
Of these points.
Yes.
So um what there's two things, one of two things I'd like to do with you guys today, and then I'm going to stop bugging you. Um we can either outline the objective of the course, or we can go to the first point and give an example of how we would talk about it. What's the better idea?
I think it's better the second idea,
Okay,
talking about the Alpine like example. I don't
very
know
good.
how Francis thinks.
Francis,
Estás en mute.
Hi. I think that we can start with the first point.
very good. Then I will do this right now. Open, recent, I hope. Here at case. Nope. Oh, I'm in the wrong directory. Da 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 do. There we go. Okay. Um, so the first point that we're going to make is we're going to give the Ecuadorian located geologist an idea of how people look at things in the geologic light, and then how geophysics can look at the same thing and see a different picture. There is a difference in the picture, of course, because we use physical parameters. We don't use geochemistry. We don't use things like that. We don't have drill hole. And of course, geophysics is only good to help with drill holes and find water. My goodness, I don't know what else you'd want to be involved with it. How does this look to you as a geologist? And how does it look to us as a geophysicist? I want to give you an example of work that I did. And this is the San Nicolas mine in Mexico. Are you guys familiar with anything like that?
No, only I have heard about Mexico only the epithermal systems that they have, Fresnillo, all that kind of things. But
Okay. So, well, anyway, so this is the San Nicolas deposit tech involved at the time. You guys can look that up. The picture that I want to use for our discussion is here. This is a cross section, north facing cross section, and the depth is about 500 to 600 meters in this depth here from surface. And this is all well known now. This is all after the fact. So we have all kinds of interesting things. We have all these estimates of geophysical parameters, but the summary is this model has a very high conductivity thickness target. The massive sulfides are very conductive, but the material on top of this is effectively as conductive as what is buried. So when you drill this with a drill hole, it's very easy to see the difference between here and here, here, etc. But geophysically, this is a very difficult target because you have this surface conductivity where the energy wants to be, if we remember that from before. So the energy starts here, it comes here and says, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. This is very conductive. I want to stay here. So it's difficult to get energy A past this barrier of energy into this one to get enough. So it's it's effectively the most difficult target that we have in geophysics. You have the same type of target in Timmins, Ontario. You have clay. You have 50 to 100 meters of conductive clay, which is as conductive as massive sulfide, for example, but it's not attractive. So one thing we need to know about geophysics is geophysically, we can't tell this difference. Geologically, it's very obvious. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
So what we can do is we can take this estimation. Okay, these are estimated physical properties of the rock types. So somebody, not me, somebody that did the UBC talk about this, which I have recorded here if you ever need to see this, okay? This talk is not my talk. The slides I will show you is my work, and it's my work reproducing this portion of this study, okay? But we have here, we take, oh, this is a very good indication. See this complicated geologic model? I made that in geophysics. Does that make any sense? That should be a very interesting representation.
It's like a forward modeling.
This is exactly forward modeling.
Okay.
I took this information, I made this as my forward model. I took my InSight electrode array or my InSight IP, and I did the survey as I pretended to be there. Of course, this data, I've never been there to do this, but I pretended I was there. And then, well, that's the chargeability. And then I took these data and I inverted it to pretend how well my system could find this body in a fantasy world. Okay. So what I want to be able to give the exploration geologist involved with Ecuador is the ability to look at this type of material, at this level of material, and feel comfortable and not feel intimidated because it's some mysterious geophysics. And that's my objective.
David, I have a question. I know Geoself has the option that you could make a forward modeling in GMCs, but for magnetometry and gravity. Do you know if Geoself has the option to do forward modeling of resistivity or IP?
So yes and no. I don't. I have those programs, but I don't have them through Geosoft. Okay. So I'm sure that you can go to Geosoft and you can say, I would like the UBC 2D code hooked up to my Geosoft. I don't do it that way because I have a license for the 2D UBC code, for example, and I have a license for the 3D. So my recommendation, so yes, you can do all that. What I would recommend to you, if you're interested, this program here is the foundation program of what Geosoft uses. Does that make any sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is written by Dr. Richard Almond. I don't know where it says that here, somewhere. Well, here's his company name. He calls himself, I think it's GSS. I'm not too sure anyway. This is a software that I do not own. I rent this for a month when I need it. I'm just going to do this quickly. Sorry. Oh, what do I do? I'll just open a quick one. If it's going to open. Okay, so here, so I did this file when I was when I had the active license, and right now you're only allowed two bodies, but this is the software that you would buy, I believe, through the Geosoft GX, I believe is what they call it. Oh, did we? Oh, we didn't lose.
Yes, GX.
Yeah. So this is the this is the software that GeoSoft has a contractual deal a contract with a contractual contract with Dr. Almond, and that's what this comes from. So I would strongly suggest that you guys go to this web page down where this software. This is what I did with the AMET team at the IIGE. I actually got them active licenses for a month for free from Dr. Alm. I'll send you this link, Jose. Don't worry. And I know for a fact that Dr. Almond will answer any single question you have about this stuff. He's been really helpful.
Okay.
I'll post a link to this. Okay. Now, if you want to go crazy, for me, this is very instructional because I want to be able to look at a body and think. And as I said when we were discussing modeling, it's really difficult to create a single picture of the Earth, but it's really easy to ask modeling software specific questions to get answers. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
What is happening now? Where can I find this? This is in Legault's talk. So this, where in the world now? Where is Jean Legault? I should be more organized for these things. Where is Mr. Legault's talk? Sorry about that. I don't know. So I will go to the actual project. Boom. So what I want to show you is that geotech, and I don't have a lot of experience with, I only have one project that I've seen this work. What they do now is they give a 3D model voxet, whatever the proper term is, of their magnetic answer to their projects. Instead of me going into a data set and making ellipses and squares and things, what they do is they give you the answer. Oh, I hope I made this right map. Yeah. Oh, this is more interesting. So what this is, maybe I can't show this map. Hang on. I have to find the map I can show. Here we go. Sorry about that. So here, this is very interesting because, and this is how I like to present when a client asks me to talk about geophysical data and conveying geophysical ideas. This is how I like to present my ideas. I like a plan map and I like a section. And here, this is a public map, but here we can see that I've been given drill hole information. Okay. And I've been given all kinds of information, and I've been able to make this determination. Where am I? I've been able to make these determinations on the Geotech ZTEM Natural Field Airborne Survey, flown in, I believe, September 2019 or something like that. And what this color here is this is high magnetic target, this reddish color. Okay, this reddish color here is high magnetic body. And the green is lower magnetic body. But this is very interesting because the way I did this, I took the bodies and made ellipses and had to figure this out. All of this interpretation was automatic effectively, and I believe it works very well. So there's a plug for the Geotech magnetic inversion. Okay, so I would recommend that you guys download this type of software, this one, play with it. I can walk you through. We can take a half hour and I can show you how to set it up, for example. But then that will give you an idea of what companies like Geotech are advancing. And I think that's the type of important thing I want you exploration geologists to be aware of. And this is new. This is one of the reasons I say that Ecuador is the foundation for geophysical technological advance right now in exploration. I really believe that. Wake up.
Because once I try to make a forward modeling of magnetics with
Yes.
Genesis, and then
Okay.
comparing with the inversion boxing. That's what I did. But
And what was your result? What did you find?
Actually the inversion, the main body was the same, but inversion gave me more little bodies uh, going through anyway. So that was a little difficult for me to interpret if they were uh, a body, a real body, or were just I don't know, little responses to, I don't know, faults or something like that.
Yeah, or I don't know what word would be best to use here. There are the every inversion process has weaknesses. And the more experience you get at looking at inverted data sets, you will recognize things that just don't seem right, you know, but I think it's just not right. And that experience, I would love you guys to learn because it's very important. So even for geophysicists that do this for a living, please just do not blindly understand. Don't blindly believe the computer is telling you what is right. And if you don't mind, I'd like to show you a good example of that. I'm gonna never stop talking about this stuff, am I? Let's talk geophysics. Let's do that. Let's look at this. Okay, can you see that well?
Yes.
Okay, let's pretend, and this is all forward modeling in magnetics in the software we just talked about. Okay, and I use 3 bodies. You could have done the same thing with 2 bodies. Okay, for free. Okay. Now, what do we have here? Well, this looks very complicated, etc., etc. Well, what this is version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. Yeah. This, if you can see, looks like a complicated line. There's a blue line and a red line. The one line is when these lines match, it means that the data that we use to forward and the data that matches on the inversion is the same. Therefore, the answer is right. Correct?
Yes.
If my inversion result matches my observation, I'm so smart, aren't I? Yay, pay me lots of money. Right? Next lesson. Next lesson. Okay, now what is the problem? Example 1, example 2, example 3, example 4. Exactly the same observed data. Solved. This example 1 is solved by this geologic situation. Example 2 is solved exactly the same way, exactly the same level, pardon me, to exactly the same level as this one. This one, exactly the same as this, and these are all the same answers. So now what I'm telling you is that, and there is nothing here geophysically that tells me I made a mistake, right? If I look at this answer, I'm going, boy, I'm fantastic. Or if I look at this answer, I'm going, wow, I'm a genius.
Yes.
But I have, so as a geologist, if someone comes to you with a model, you have to promise me to think of this slide. Okay? Now, where do we go? Okay, David, therefore geophysics is useless. Or how do we proceed? Okay? Any questions?
Very clear.
Yeah, I sent this to Dr. Almond, and I have his response, and he thanked me very much for this slide, and he uses this slide. I believe he uses it. He has it. He asked for it. So I'm really happy. But his software is really good for me because it's good for me because I have a lot of experience looking at this stuff before we had this available to us. You know,
Mhm.
so it's just so so remember remember me when I tell you, how do we do this? Go back here. When someone gives you a model, just remember this diagram. They might be right. They might be right. But now, oh my goodness, guess what question you can ask? Okay? So the way it sits right now is that what I did for my life is I tried to sell companies geophysics. Okay? So I could torture myself or torture people to go do it. And unfortunately, I had to teach myself geophysics so I could sell geophysics because I found that if you just lied about it, people don't use you. Again, weird, eh? Um, well, I thought I lost my point. That was so weird. What were we
About the
talking?
model, if someone brings you this model,
Right. The structure is you are the geologist that's been given the project. You have a person that you can talk to that understands geophysics. And then I try to phone you and say, hey, what are you doing? What can we help you with? Blah, blah, blah. And what do you always say to me? You have to go talk to that person. Right. And then if you're a big company, your question goes in a line of questions. Okay. So I want you guys to know, and trust me, you're not going to learn everything. I do not know everything, but I want you to at least have 1 or 2 layers of knowledge of this material before you have to bother someone else. So you know. And then if you can do me a favor, if you do learn something, make sure you pass it on.
Yes, from my own experience, David, once I was doing SEPs, you know, well, BES in English, vertical electrical sounding.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And the people from the company asked me, why do you do that? If you want to look for water, you only have to drill and that's it.
Hmm.
So there is a lack of information about geophysics in general here.
Yeah, but that's not Ecuador. That's the world.
Do you think?
Oh, I don't think I know this, right? I know this. Don't worry. The world, um, and that's well, I can say this in all honesty. One of the reasons I'm making this effort is because I know that Ecuador is the place to be right now with exploration advancing.
Yes, because the geology is very very useful here. Here they have a lot of potential places to prove the geophysics. It's true.
It's a whole bunch of things, and I hope Ecuador figures it out, and I hope that you guys have long, healthy geologic careers in Ecuador. Because I was involved in geology in Ecuador as I told Jose in 1991. Okay, I flew to Ecuador to help consult on a project for RTZ back in 1991, and maybe this would be political, but I have friends in Ecuador that are older than you in geology, and one of my good friends looked at me over a lunch and said, Ecuador has just been dead teaching geology for over 10 years. Do you believe that?
Mm.
Is that true?
I don't
No,
know.
I'm asking a question. He's a good friend of mine, and he's Ecuadorian, and he loves Ecuador, and he's been busy every day in the mining industry, but he was not happy with the information available to the geologic student in Ecuador.
of course, that's true.
I have no idea.
Yes.
I, I, I haven't, I haven't been to school in a long time. I don't know.
All the knowledge that Ecuador has is only because the foreigner surveys made on the 90s and 2000s. Since there, we haven't had some information. Only a little bit about the ancient INIGEM and the new IGE, but just a little bit because we don't even have money to make geological mapping or something like that. So the information here is really, really.
Yeah, we have to. Well, I can. I don't know a lot of the CEOs involved in Ecuador personally. I've watched a lot of them speak. I've met a few of them. I believe that many of these people and almost all, I'm sure, of these companies, their objectives are genuine and interested in Ecuador. I'm very comfortable with that. And you can see that every time one of the CEOs speaks, they say, "Boy, we're this and that." And you know what? Almost we only have one gringo in this in the situation. We have one gringo there, and I'm happy they're doing that. You know.
Yeah, that's good.
One
Uh,
gringo.
well, I before in a past life, I ran a geophysical contracting company in Brazil, and I did my best to not bring in gringos to help me. And two of the people that I hired, one in 1998 and one in 1999, the one I still work with occasionally, and the other one still works with me on a daily basis. So don't tell me that Latin America, and of course the Brazilians don't consider themselves Latin, but that's a different story. Don't tell me that Latin America doesn't have potential for doing this stuff, because I refuse to believe it. So how's that for a political statement?
Yes, I think that the ability, we have the ability, I think so, because there are a lot of universities where people learn about geophysics, but the level that the companies maybe they don't trust about this because maybe there is not enough information, you know.
Yeah. Listen,
And
I'll
I
give.
think that what are you are doing is very good because yes, geophysics is very good to save money. So if they know that they can save money, for sure they will try to use geophysics.
Now, how can a company save money using geophysics?
Yes, because what for example is when they want to look for whatever thing here, they want to go to the perforation directly. So if you go to drill, and instead of using geophysics, you will spend money, and drilling is very expensive. So if you have a survey where you can know better the information about your field, you will invest the money for drilling in a better way
But how can we trust geophysics?
because it works. I know that it works.
I just proved to you that geophysics cannot work.
Really.
Yes, it's true, but yes, it's true, but uh, I think that for when it is not for shallow information, geophysics work pretty well. I think so, and it's not so much the money that you have to invest.
Yeah.
So
No, you know what? I'm trying to. I don't mean to be crazy, and that is the word for what I'm trying to be. But I am trying to. So you are already well ahead of many people I've spoken to, because at least you have an idea of geophysics, of what it can or cannot do, and you're thinking about the economics of it. I can show you a quote from a project that I worked on in Northern Ontario that the geologist wrote in a press release. The work that David's company did for us allowed us to take our drill separation from 200-meter centers to 500-meter centers.
Okay.
So imagine what that does to a drilling program. Like, I think that we should make drillers hate us because we're going to reduce drilling.
Yeah. Always you need to drill. It is good for the geophysics also, because sometimes it's better if you have a well that if you don't have anything. But it's an exploration well what you need first.
Um, that's you know what? I didn't put that in this file, but I should somewhere. And so what you made me think of was, how would geophysics fit into your exploration approach? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's the question you're answering. You're asking, right? So let's put that right here. Whoops, not here. Let's put it down here. How do I do
This
this?
is the sound of the gas. Can
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Sorry.
Tu cilindro no. ¿Qué es esto?
Yes.
Cademas. Cademas, no.
Ya no tiene gas.
Ya no tiene gas. No, no quede más. Or quede más. No quede más. Isn't it? I don't know. I know that song. When I'm in Ecuador, I play my guitar to that music when he goes by. Anyway, I'll do this later, but let's do one here. How would geophysics fit into your exploration program? I think that's a great question. I don't know how we do this. Let's figure it out. I don't know. Anyway, I don't have to show you how little I know about Word. The next question is that you brought to mind is that we really appreciate putting the entire package together. So this company has given me all the information they have. The nice thing about this project is, typically in my world, I have to evaluate my own data. In this project, I was able to evaluate another person's data. Okay, so this is Ecuador. This is an Ecuadorian project, and this was talked about at Kegs. Jose, this is the textbook of the first exploration geophysics university course that I took at the University of Western Ontario. A.E. Beck wrote the book and he taught the course. I'm not suggesting anyone buy this, but what I am going to do is I'm going to base this material on the detail that Dr. Beck presented back then. Does that make any sense? So
Yes.
it's more of an introduction, but it goes into some theory, so we can talk about this. Anyway, how are you? We've been 33 minutes, guys. How are you doing?
Really good.
Yeah. So how do we proceed? We know geophysics does not work. We can prove geophysics does not work. So should we just talk about geochemistry?
No.
I think that with that example that you show is when we have to think about the integrate the information from the geologist and from the geophysics, because yes, you can have this kind of situation a lot of time, because you can have a low resistivity for because of something, but you can interpret it like another object because another object also have this low resistivity. But when you match your information with the geologist, you can discard the one of the model, or of course you have to choose one, but you
My, my,
can discard
that's
it.
a very good point. And my only comment to there is almost every project that I've worked on that has detailed geology of some sort, almost every project that I've worked on, at some time in the discussion, we've been able to say to the geologist, "Hey, look at this,"
Mhm.
and the geologist will go, "Wow, we never thought of that before," and it really helps something. That has happened so many times. It also happens when the geologists are not willing to open up ideas. Okay.
Yes, because geologists also have three models in their mind.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
three or four geologists always have a
Hmm.
lot of model in their mind, and they also can say, oh, maybe this fall is like this, or maybe it's normal, or maybe it's inverse. But also with geophysics, they can figure it out which is the real model. So the match of the both specialists is very important.
You have you. I think you have to be in charge. We're going to elect you president of this organization because you come up with some very good points. So what you just talked about there is if I was you talking to a person like me, I would say, okay, you want to do this geophysical survey. Uh, how many models can you look for at one time?
How many models can you
Look for at
get?
one time. Because some surveys, maybe they only look for flat lying things. Some surveys look for vertical things. Some things look for shallow things. Some
Yeah.
things look for big deep things. So what you described to me, the way I put that in my brain was, okay, Mr. Contractor, how many, these are my geologic models. How many of these geologic models can you find with what you wanted me to pay money for? Does that make sense?
Okay.
And that if you guys were able to do that, I would be very happy. That's the decision that I think you guys are very capable of making. You know, here's my model, uh, um, and I don't even begin to know how many examples I have of doing this. Um, and I'll tell you, it's even better now because uh, uh, companies like Geotech and Expert Geophysics, I know for a fact, if you bring them a geologic idea like this, they will produce a map of their technology like that, and they'll show you if they can or cannot do it, which I think is amazing. Good for them. And I have used I on this report that we talked about here. We used forward modeling on the natural field data to answer some questions. And just to let you know what I was going to look this up a week ago here. This is Kegs 2021 Jean Legault. Um, anyway, I can't find that talk was given, and now it's being given to the SEG as well in 2021. And all of this information here is talked about, and it's an Ecuador property. The company is Tempest Resources. It was a geotech airborne survey, and I did the evaluation, a third person evaluation for Tempest. So there you go. Is any of this new? Is all this easy to you? Is this news? How does this look to you?
this survey?
Just this approach, how you do your geophysics when you did your vertical electrical soundings. You know what how else have you used geophysics to help people? You've never used geophysics to help people.
Yes, a lot.
Well, so give me an example.
One example, well, here in Ecuador, they need a lot to look for, oh, well, here in Ecuador and whatever place, you need to look for the water. And also, environmental assessment, when you need to look for a place that is contaminated.
And you've done this work. So have you done?
Yeah.
So you said you use the I was the not the snake. What do they call it? The super snake, not the electrical array.
To be honest, I have only worked, well, I
No, no.
have worked,
The last time we talked, you mentioned the equipment, the
ah,
stinger array or something.
super sting.
Super sting. There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is one way. So have you used GPR as well? Do you know?
I
No.
haven't used GPR.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
haven't used.
we have it. We have the ability to talk about that when we get going here. It's an
Yes,
electromagnetic technique that we can talk about, but that's a very interesting thing too. Okay.
yes.
So, do you want to keep doing this, or what should we do? We can close this off for today, but if you guys send me questions, I can answer them, or it's up to you. But I'd like to get this material prepared, and I'd like to offer it to anyone that's interested.
Yes, yes, I think that methodology is really good.
Okay, so I'm not going to do anything this weekend. Do you want to get together Monday?
Yes, please.
Hasta lunes. Okay, okay, guys. Enjoy cold, wet Quito.
No, the weather is what they want. The weather want to be. Sometimes sunny, sometimes it's cold, sometimes
Yeah,
it's raining.
yeah. I laugh at my wife because she was raised in Quito, and then I moved her. The first place that I moved my wife 3 weeks after we got married, it was a place that goes to minus 40 degrees Celsius in the wintertime.
Wow.
And the good news is we're still married. So there you go.
That's love.
It's more than love. It's something. Okay, guys. Okay. So listen, I'll think about this. Think about some questions, and we'll talk again Monday. Okay. Thank you so much for your help. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, David.
Thanks, David.
Take care,
Nice
man.
weekend.
Thank you. So ciao, ciao.
Bye, Jose.
Ciao.